First of all, in our space, in the customer experience space, there's going to be a consolidation. The tools will come together to bring a one holistic solution for the customer that will allow them to manage the journey management cycle end to end. And this is one thing we can talk about it, and I can explain how I see really it moving. Just it's a topic on its own. The second thing that's going to happen, this is for sure, is that the prompts are going to take over. It's going to take over because people will not access the, let's say, the SaaS solution. The business applications are going to become engines, and the front end is going to be just prompts. If people need something, have a question, they're going to ask it for a prompt. They won't open now the CRM system, click on an account, go to look for on tab number 4 to click on the, which marketing communication did we send to this customer. They're just going to ask a prompt, and the prompt is going to give them the information. And this is what's happening already today.
Hello, and welcome to the CX Files. Today's guest is Eytan Hattem. He is the CEO of Cemantica. That's Cemantica. Cemantica is a journey management platform. He's also the founder of the nonprofit Institute for Journey Management, a board member of the CX Professionals Association, founder of Amplify Experience Management Consulting, and he was previously the chief customer officer for Prodware, among other roles. He brings a triple perspective to CX, including vendor, consultant, and practitioner. He loves using journey management as a method for correctly applying technology to achieve business outcomes. Eytan, thanks for joining today.
Thank you, Ben. Happy to be here.
I always like to set the stage by getting a story from guests about a time in their career that really stands out to them, something surprising, something unexpected, or simply interesting. Can you share a story for people?
Yeah, I think that the story is probably related to how I got to CX. People, most people didn't grow in CX. You get to it from somewhere because it's relatively new practice as we know it today. So I was doing before CRM implementations, working for different companies, implementing CRM software mainly. That was my expertise. And I remember that there was a moment where we did some research on the success criteria of CRM software and got some statistics on success of CRM projects. And we got like a kind of a striking statistics that said 70% of CRM projects fail. And and we were feeling it as well, that we were asking users what they want, implementing what they're asking for, but then the project doesn't work. And it always intrigued me, why doesn't it work? What's the problem? We're doing everything we were asked for. The problem is the technology, the people, where is it? And this is where it struck me that actually all the work that we do implementing a customer relationship management software, which is supposed to manage a relationship with customers, we ask nothing the customers about. We're just asking the users, but the users are not the customers. So the system is satisfying what the user needs, but doesn't serve the purpose of the software. And then I understood that actually customer experience is a purpose. It's not something, it's not a technology, it's not a process, it's a mindset. This is something that you need to implement in an organization to transform the culture to be customer centric, so people will naturally act in the interest of customers. And this is the goal. So the CRM software is just a tool to get there. And if it's not serving this purpose, that's why it's failing. This is where I went to the other side and decided I'm stopping doing CRM implementation and customer engagement software, and I started doing CX consulting and CX technology. This is my story how I got there. And since then, I love it.
Well, I think that is an excellent example of understanding what actually matters and not what we are told matters. Not going to the automatic, the first thought, the assumption, the everybody's doing this, so I'm going to do the same thing, but actually thinking another level and understanding, what is the true priority, where is the true outcome going to be born, if you will. I love that. You know, there's been different data points about the effectiveness of deployments in the CX space. There's a study from MIT that a lot of people have cited about the number of AI deployments that fail in general. There's various reports out by Gartner and other research firms about the number of AI deployments that are failing in CX today, and it's pretty bad. And I think if I'd like to get your thoughts on this, and where do you see the gap between, you know, the CX promises of today and the, you know, the reality on the ground?
Uh, I think that this is a it's a deep topic in the sense that it's a matter of expectations. I think people expect AI to do something that it's not necessarily designed to do or not currently able to do in the level that we expect. So it's a matter of expectations, right? Like everything, not only in AI. And since AI became a sort of a magic wand, then people expect that AI will build your journeys, AI will analyze them, tell you the pain points, ideate your solutions, solve them, and also go fix it. Which is we will gonna get to that. One day we'll be there, and I think there are many things that need to happen to get there. But definitely, the using AI is needs to be used in a business context with a use case. So it's not just a technology that you drop and then you can expect that it's gonna do do the magic, I call it. It's a technology that needs to work in a business context, like any other technology, and it's not different for AI. So I think the key in order to implement AI and use it properly is use it in this business context, is use it in the scenario that fits a business purpose. And then you can really get to have the efficiency gains and maybe take better decisions and get the smart insights that you're expecting AI to give you. But it does require a collaboration between the technology and the human together. It can't be just the technology that will do the job, and it can't be the human working alone. It's the combination of both that make it happen. So I'm not surprised of the failure because of the expectations are very high and the technology is not there yet. Plus, it's not implemented with the right scenario. And then, yeah, obviously, it doesn't do what you thought it's going to do for you.
Right, yeah. I think there's so much hype and so much enthusiasm and so much expectations, and I think it's kind of inevitable that that's not going to be the reality. You know, there's also definitely been a shift in the conversation. I think people are moving away from the framing of, you know, AI is going to replace the human and moving into, as you said, you know, this sort of partnership, you know, with technology and people working together. But there's been a pressure from investors, a pressure from leadership to use AI as a way to reduce headcount or just to freeze hiring. How do you think about this tension between the understanding that AI is not replacing people actually, and it's simply increasing their capability, and then, you know, this reality that there are a lot of jobs that are kind of going away or not being replaced?
I think that there are the AI is an opportunity to create new jobs and for people also to revamp their skills in order to be able to use AI and as a lever for their work because the purpose of the work didn't change. The purpose of what you're trying to achieve. AI isn't changing your purpose. AI is a tool that helps you get there faster, better, smarter, take better decisions. This is what it's doing, but it's not changing the purpose of an organization. It's not changing the objectives of what do we want to achieve as a business. So, so I think it's like putting AI in the right place, what it's supposed to serve, and not making it not it's not making AI becoming the target of everything. Like our purpose is to use AI. This is not the purpose to use AI. AI is here as a tool, as a lever to help you go faster, and that's it. So I think again it's a matter of expectation. It's putting AI in the right box And then it's not a threat on anyone. If you understand that this is a tool that's going to help you do your job better and get better results and better business performance, then there's no issue here. That's fine. It's like any other tool that you're using that's going to improve your efficiency, but it's not changing your purpose or your objectives.
That's a really good point. Yeah, I think the in a world and a landscape that is changing so quickly, and there's so many new developments happening, and the major AI companies are releasing new models that get better and better. And there's all these sort of things that are shifting. It's very good. I love what you're saying that that the purpose is the same. And I think that if people remember those things that are not changing, then it'll help to stay grounded and to stay focused on the right goals. I wanted to ask you about your experiences with implementing AI or other tools. Have you had an experience with a tool implementation that surprised you, whether because it worked better than you expected or failed in some way you didn't expect?
I feel that most implementations are not related to the technology, not the tool. I don't feel it's the tool that is only making the difference. You could have two companies using the same tool and getting very different results. One could be a big success, one could be a big failure. This is not a question of the technology. And even though I am a software vendor and this is my company, I am selling technology, I am still claiming that the key is not in the technology. The key is in the way you use the technology, in the way that you fit it to a business scenario. It's in the organizational structure and the customer-centric maturity that the organization has, so the culture. If the culture is customer-centric, if the culture is here and understands customer experience to the foundation of what it means, then the technology will serve best the effort of doing CX properly. So it's not about the technology. So my surprise is the surprise I have is the same tool works perfectly in one place and can be a failure in another place. But it's the same tool. We are doing SaaS, so there's only one version, right? There are no two versions. This is exactly the same tool and could be very well adopted here, could be not adopted in another place. And it's not the question of the technology. That's it.
Absolutely makes sense to me. I think it's clear that if the technology is the same and the businesses are different, then it's about the business case and about that customer centricity. Can you share maybe if you've observed from your experience or something that you've seen, are there some quality or some features of businesses that are customer centric? Is there an example of a company becoming more customer centric or sort of, is there like an aha moment when the business sort of gets it? What are the qualities that make this culture shift or that keep this culture alive inside of a business?
I think that first of all, there's a relationship between employee experience and customer experience. The employee engagement plays a role in your ability to provide positive customer experience. Because at the end of the day, it's the operating model of the company that's producing the experience to customers, that's providing the means to customer to interact with the brand. So if the operating model isn't set to provide the positive customer experience it's supposed to provide, then it won't provide this experience. So there is a connection between the two that is important. First of all, so I would say there's one key in employee engagement that plays a role. And a second quality, I would say, in an organization to implement customer experience is using technology. Definitely, technology is a great way to be efficient, to execute on your promise. So you have your brand promise, and then you have the customer ambition, and then you have also the employee ambition. Your objective is to try to align the three, that they talk the same language. So if the organization wants to reach something and customers have another ambition, you need to bridge them. And I think technology is a good way to try to connect everything together. So after you've done an alignment of the promises, the promise of the organization, the employees, and the customers, then I think technology is here to help you automate all of this, to help you analyze all the data that you're accumulating in your information systems, and to produce the smart insights that will continually align your operating model and your customer journey. That's one of your biggest challenges. Your customer needs and expectations are shifting on one side. This is the customer journey. And on the other side, you have your operating model that's shifting as well because the objectives are changing, organization structure is changing, you're implementing new systems, you're changing your processes, your procedures, your communication. So changes done on the bottom in the backstage and changes on customer behaviors on the customer journey are like two moving targets. They're moving all the time. And in the middle, you have customer experience or journey management cycle, which is a continuous improvement cycle that is assuring that your operating model and your customer journey are staying aligned. And this is what you're trying to achieve alignment between customer needs and expectation and your operating model, the customer experience that you produce.
Well said. Well said. That is a very clear explanation, and I love this. It's refreshing here. I think that the idea that alignment is a moving target is very important for people to understand. It's not some destination. The train arrives at the station and then stops forever. That is not the
Never ending.
case, right?
Never
These
ending.
things are evolving continuously. If you take this alignment, so if I simplify, you have employee, customer, and sort of business alignment. And if you take those three and you put them on a graph, and is there an organization in the world that can never sort of reach a high level? Just the nature of their business, they're always going to be, like struggling more to achieve alignment? Or do you think that fundamentally every business can approach the sort of ideal with the proper approach, with the proper technique?
A good question. I think that any organization that has customers that need to serve um, has the potential of providing a positive customer experience. Then it's true that I did see industries where it's harder to produce positive customer experience because of the nature of the business. Then it's also a question, what exactly do you call customer experience? And is it what's a customer? Is a citizen a customer as well? Or, for example, when you look at government, the tax authority, okay, the tax authority in the United States, IRS. IRS has customer journeys, for example. They also do that. They are mapping the journey of the citizens that are the taxpayers that need to go through the journey of submitting their, filling their annual tax, right, and reporting and filing it. Um, how positive can this experience be? You see what I mean? Versus another industry that's tourism, where you are talking about doing a vacation and you can get to a super great experience because the nature of the business is to have fun.
Sure.
So, if you ask me in reality, in real life, yes, there are businesses that will have a hard time getting to a very positive customer experience, and their objective isn't to get to a positive customer experience, their objective is to avoid the negative experience. And that's a little bit different. There are journeys where you cannot get a positive customer experience. Your objective is just not to get a negative one. And so I would say there is a difference. There is a difference in potential, but every organization definitely can aspire to have a positive customer experience.
Yeah, that makes sense. I think, I'm imagining that there's not one scale that we measure every organization on, but
It's a
it's
benchmark.
right, right, and by industry and by segment and these kind of things, but then
Yes.
also like mapping progress year over year also, like compare against previous results of the same business instead of other businesses, right? Is it
Yes.
moving in the right direction generally? That's sort of a general point I think about improvement and comparison. But um, yeah, I wanted to ask you about the this this continuing debate of, sort of the view of support specifically as a cost. and the evolving understanding. Through the conversations I'm having, there's a number of organizations that are moving towards viewing support as being a source of growth as well as a source, where you can achieve some cost savings. What do you think about this evolving kind of dual purpose of support and CX more generally?
I think we can talk about CX in general because support, I mean, it's the same symptom also in other areas of the organization. So if we take it from a CX perspective, I think that in places where CX is considered as a cost center, budgets are cut over time. Over time, your programs will eventually close or diminish to something very small because you are seen as a cost center. In fact, customer experience, when it operates properly and it is seen in the right way, and that's a question of maturity as well, it is not a cost center. It's a revenue growth engine, and not only, it's also a way to reduce cost. People many times ignore that or miss this thing. They think customer experience is related to growth, revenues. If you have positive customer experience, you have more revenues or better profitability. And it's not true. I found that the methodology of customer experience is one of the best ways to cut cost. From a very simple reason. Customer experience is focusing you on the things that matter to the customer. You're stopping to lose time and energy in projects that do not bring value. And what's value? Value is value for the business and value for the customer. If an initiative isn't bringing value to the business and the customer, don't do it. Go for the initiatives that do bring, and then your money, the money is like an investment. Instead of investing it in a project that doesn't yield value, put it in place that does yield value. And how do you know it? From the customer experience process, the mapping of customer journeys and identifying the pain points, and then identifying areas of opportunities and ideating solution and prioritizing them based on the value they bring to the customer and the value they bring to the business. This is what's focusing you on the things that matter. And when your organization is set to focus on the things that matter, you stop losing the money on initiatives that are not going to bring anything in the future.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, when you say it that way, it's extremely clear. And maybe maybe this is because of your skill in communication. This sounds obvious. Um,
Yes.
um,
It sounds obvious, right?
I think there's there's a real challenge with I think the way that CX teams and inside of that, I'm referring to, of course, support teams. We know CX crosses multiple disciplines, but there's a way of seeing challenge that I think is evolving, and the actual job skills, the actual areas of expertise are changing, of course, as the landscape of the tools and opportunities changes. Um, how do you see the new skills or the skills of the future evolving, and where do you think that people should be reading and learning and practicing the most?
First of all, I have a doubt about the future of the future as CX as a silo. I think that CX department as a silo, I don't see a future for that. I think this is declining. I see there is a prosperity of CX tools, methodologies, best practices, language that will probably emerge in all the other departments that exist in the organization. There is an inherent tension between CX as being a silo or the organization structured as silos versus the mission of CX to work for the greater good, for work for a cross-functional team that crosses the organization. But the fact is that organizations are siloed just by nature. By nature, it's siloed. And the tension between the siloed organization and the mission of the CX team to bring a harmony that is cross-functional doesn't work in practice.
Hmm.
So I think that probably the better way is that the silos unless there will be a change in organizations structures, that the organization will change the way they work. And there is a theory and a methodology around that that's called journey pods. And I refer to Ray Gerber that wrote a book about it. And there's a very nice chapter there that's talking about organization that's structured around journeys, and not structure around marketing, sales, customer success, all that, but structure you around the journey workloads. That would be the future for me. One day that was going to come. Until we are in journey pods, I would say that the mission of the CX team would be to give the means to the existing departments to do CX on their own. Sales and marketing and customer service, and everyone will do CX with the tools, best practices, and ways of working that will finally bring a customer centric mindset to the organization that will not need a big CX department that does the job, because CX isn't supposed to execute all the things that come out from the journey. It's supposed to be the other units that do the job. So it's kind of a tricky situation.
I think the journey pod is a great example, and I think there's various similar kinds of structures and similar kinds of groups within organizations, even if people are not familiar with the exact name and process that you've described. I think there's a history of cross-functional teams, going after certain initiatives in organizations. There's a sort of like a matrix style organizational structure as well, where there's not only vertical hierarchy, but also sort of horizontal interconnection. And there's the various sort of techniques here, but I think that you've used a few times in the interview today this word maturity, and I think that there's a sort of a CX maturity that some teams and organizations have, and then I think they will recognize at that stage obviously that the customer journey is customer does not see the edge of the marketing team and the edge of the sales team and so on. They they see one customer experience, and so naturally you have to have something in the organization which mirrors, the seamless journey, right? Um,
Yes.
I think that's definitely necessary, and certainly I think mature organizations are moving in that direction or executing in that way already. And from the technology point of view, this it really is this question always of, do you have one tool that sort of does everything? Or do you have these specialized individual tools, and then they all have to be, the data has to be connected between them,
Yes.
to have the journey visibility and to be able to, sort of see the whole thing. You know, do you find that it really is going in one direction as far as the tools, or do you think it really varies by organization? How do you think about this?
I think there's going to be a consolidation. I think two things are going to happen. First of all, in our space, in the customer experience space, there's going to be a consolidation. The tools will come together to bring a one holistic solution for the customer that will allow them to manage the journey management cycle end to end. And this is one thing we can talk about it, and I can explain how I see really it moving. Just it's a topic on its own. The second thing that's going to happen, this is for sure, is that the prompts are going to take over. It's going to take over because people will not access the, let's say, the SaaS solution. The business applications are going to become engines, and the front end is going to be just prompts. If people need something, have a question, they're going to ask it for a prompt. They won't open now the CRM system, click on an account, go to look for on tab number 4 to click on the, which marketing communication did we send to this customer. They're just going to ask a prompt, and the prompt is going to give them the information. And this is what's happening already today in search engines on the net. If you go to the web, people are not clicking on websites anymore. Everything is done from the search. You get the AI answer, and that's it. You go away. So all the click through model has just fallen down and collapsed. There is no click through anymore. It's everything you're getting from the prompt. So this is a very strong thing that's going to happen as well. So on one side, I see a consolidation of technologies in the CX space coming together. And on the other side, I see that the front end is going to be much less UI and much more prompt based.
I think you're absolutely right. I was just having a chat with my CEO yesterday, and in the software development space, there's this term vibe coding, which I think a lot of people have heard of now. Vibe coding is basically, to your point, writing a prompt, and then the AI agent goes and writes the code for you, and your interface is a text box essentially. Um,
Mhm.
and his comment, my CEO's comment was, the future is vibe work. So it's not only vibe coding, but just vibe working broadly. And every department and every specialty and every industry, this trend seems today very strong, very clear, and going in a single direction. So I think you're right. And this sort of asks the question of what is the new skill set and what is the new rigorous method, because it's all very fuzzy today, isn't it? It's all
Yes,
very
it's fuzzy.
open field and kind of fresh
Yes,
area to explore. And there's some examples coming out, and there's some cases that are becoming more clear. But how do you think about maybe this is a difficult question, but how do you think about navigating this kind of environment, this early stage, and knowing knowing the organization and knowing the customer, knowing the employee, again aligning these three and sort of moving forward in a way that is not going to be just replaced in a year?
yes. I think no one can predict that. The only thing I can say is coming back to what I said at the beginning, that the purpose didn't change. The purpose. So I think as long as you stick to the purpose and to what do you want to achieve, all the rest are just means to achieve it. Okay. So first of all, look at it that way. And then you calm down because it didn't change your purpose. It was just how do I get there, right? That's the only change. Only, yeah. It's a big, but still didn't change your purpose. So I say this is fixing the frame. This is giving you a frame. In this frame, definitely you need to acquire skills in how to use AI tools better to be more efficient. You need to acquire skills to improve your customer-centric maturity because you are still serving customers. You still need to produce customer experience and you're still doing something that machines don't do. Only humans can feel. Only humans understand relationship, at least at this point in time. Maybe this will evolve. Machines will also be able to feel things and then they will be able to imitate emotions and then they will be able to build relationships. But at this point in time, still the humans are the only ones that can feel something and the only, let's say, for the moment again, being able to imagine something, imagination. So we still have a place that hasn't been conquered by machines. And this place is the essential. That's the essence. Because in customer experience, it's all about relationship, about emotion, sentiment, about feelings, think and feel. And building relationship is something that's reserved for us. So I think we still need to reinforce the skills of how do we build good relationship that produce positive customer experience. Definitely a lot of skills around technology, being able to process large volumes of data and extracting insights that you can act upon. And I think that another skill we need to definitely develop is being able to work multitask. Because the current environment, what's happening is that AI and technology are taking a lot of space and they're taking a lot of the routine tasks that we were used to do, and that means there are less people to do work. There's more work done by machine and less work done by people, but still you need the people. So there are less people to talk to that will do stuff. So these people need to be very multitask, very efficient at their job. They need to be multidisciplinary, do know different things because all the routine tasks are being taken by automation, by technology, and they need now to manage this automation, to orchestrate this thing. So less people, more multitasking, and I think you need to develop some agility and some, being able to work on lots of things in parallel, multidiscipline. This is what I see.
Absolutely. I think that the whatever department you're in, AI is here or coming soon to your workflow. And I think that the multidisciplinary point that you're making is absolutely relevant. I think that there's a real need for everybody to have a kind of a project management or product management perspective, because we are essentially, if so much of our work is involving these tools, then that is, I think, a good frame for, considering buying a tool, considering the usage of a tool. How do you manage the tool? It's essentially, this is a product that you're producing, in a way of speaking. I think, the CX discipline, of course, is cross-functional by nature, and so you have to have that perspective of the other departments as well. With all of these changes coming, I think your emphasis on the unchanging goal and target is really a very helpful framing, and I hope that people can gain some clarity or keep their clarity and keep their focus and be able to achieve those results across all of this change and all these exciting developments. I'd like to wrap up the episode now, but Eytan, it's been a pleasure to speak with you, and I think the clear perspective that you've brought will really help people to keep their priorities straight and to keep their focus clear. So thank you. It's been a pleasure, and this is the CX Files, and yeah, we will see you next time.
Thank you very much.